God esteems it highly, no matter how dysfunctional, even if it's unequally yoked. Come on. Even if it's unequally yoked, God esteems, holds high, and honors marriage. You know who honored marriage in the most dysfunctional, terrible, catastrophic times? It was Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve. They never parted from one another.
He'll take away the pain and strife.
Go ahead and like and subscribe. Let's like and subscribe to this channel because more people need to hear. Listen, if what is being said on this channel is benefiting you, the right thing to do is to make sure that you share it with others. This word needs to get out. We need to get this word out, man. I'm just coming with the word because I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. All I know is what's in the Bible, and I know that it works. I know that doing it God's way works. And I just want to share with you the experiences that I've had with the Bible. And if it's helping you, you need to share it. Now, again, my focus in the focus of this channel, the focus of this ministry is marriage, identity, and family. You know, and you got a question about any of those things? Hey, put it in the comments, man. That's what it's all about. Adam and Eve had some significant problems. They had some significant problems. And they did some really, 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 really bad things. Or really, one really horrific, terrible, momentous, catastrophic thing that affected the entire world. Not just the human race, but dogs and cats, everything, dinosaurs, all kind of stuff it affected. Adam and Eve obviously did some bad things, some catastrophic things, but a lot of people say it, they're really mad about what Adam and Eve did, and they even feel that they would have done better, made better decisions if it was them in the garden instead of instead of Adam and Eve. Shoot, they're like, hey, shoot, if I'd been there, I would have done ABC. Okay. All right. Hey, you can comment in the comment section if you're one of those people. Not sure if you're going to look at it like that after what I go over today, but it's something to really think about and look at. Would we have done any better on the decision making to eat that fruit? Do you feel like you're better than them? So do you feel like you're better than Adam and Eve or would have made better decisions? And or have you learned anything from Adam and Eve in their situation that's significant and that even correlates and applies to marriage? We got to bring that thing back around to marriage and family now, some type of way. But how does it correlate? What they did. Would you have made a better decision? Are you mad at them about it? And would you have made a better decision had you been in the exact same scenario? And have you learned something from them and their path, their testimony, or their life that you're utilizing in your life today? We're going to see. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a scenario, and I want you to just imagine with me. I'm going to take you back to their story, but I'm going to do it in today's vernacular, in a right now, today's situation, so you can get a real fixation of what their situation was and how they handled it. Now, I'm going to start off by saying this because I got to set the groundwork. Okay. In Genesis 1, I believe 26 and 27, it said, then God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion. Dominion. Just remember that. Let them have dominion over what? Over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all. So you ain't just going to have dominion over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air and over the livestock, but you're going to have dominion over all the earth. Remember that. And over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So just ain't livestock, but every little creepers, little creepy things, cockroaches and ants, everything, grasshoppers and caterpillars and some things called centipede, scorpions, every creeping thing you're going to have dominion over. Okay. All right. Let's just remember that. Verse 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And God blessed them, verse 28. And God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it and have dominion. So key points again, I want you to remember dominion, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it, and dominion again. Okay. I'll give you one more thing and then we're going to go into what I want to show you. It's something to think about. Genesis 3:15. Watch this. He was talking to the serpent right here. This is after they had sinned. And he says, I will put enmity between you and the woman. Okay, talking to the serpent. And between your offspring, and her offspring. Just remember that. Her offspring. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. But I want to focus on this one. Her offspring will bruise your head. So watch this. Dominion, fruitful and multiply, and her, meaning Eve's offspring, will bruise your head. What we could perceive as a Garden of Eden in today's time. What would be a Garden of Eden for us in today's time, now that we have all the luxuries and all of the wonderful things that we have today? Because this is what I was thinking about. So I want you to consider. Adam and Eve had a marriage without sin. Before the fall, talking about before the fall. Before the fall, they had a marriage without sin. No sin. They had great communication, great communication with God, great relationship with God. You know, they didn't have no problems, didn't have no situations, no circumstances, only peace. Didn't have no arguments, no nothing. They had bliss. Okay, now that's just from the spiritual standpoint, mental standpoint. But physically, in today's time, what would that look like? I want you to imagine being on the most beautiful beach that you've ever seen in your life, like somewhere in Maldives or something, you know, beautiful beach in Maldives. And you have this beautiful beach house, okay, overlooking a cliff. It's on a cliff, but it's overlooking the beach. And right at the bottom of the cliff, you've got, nice beach area with, very powdery, sandy beaches, right? Water coming up, beautiful, just beautiful blue turquoise water. You got a wonderful mountain behind the beach and the beach house. Your beach house is just immaculate. It is huge. I mean, talking about 25,000 square feet. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's got everything in there. You've got, beautiful couches, pictures, and artistry, and statues, and a kitchen that's just out of sight. You know what I'm saying? You got 2 stoves in the kitchen, got a big old island, it's 20 feet long. You got plenty of area for you to sit down, put all the kids there. You can have 20 kids at the table, all the food that you can eat. You got, listen, you don't even have to fix no food. The food fixes itself. You just push a button. Look, you push a button, doop, and the food goes and cooks itself, scrambled egg, whatever it is that you want. Big old steak, big porterhouse, ribeye steak, whatever the case may be. Look, you got Gordon Ramsay and doggone Hell's Kitchen without the hell. It's awesome. It is absolutely awesome. Some of the best breads and cheeses and got your big screen television, 150 inches, it's like you're at the theater in your house. Big, beautiful bed that turns around and flips. And I mean, you got it all. No problems, no situation, no circumstances, nothing. There's no problems. Only bliss, only just, this is great. Go where you want to go, when you want to go. You got a security team, got you know what I'm saying? Your lions and your bears, they security team. They talking to you. So come on, lion and bear. You're going to be our security team together. They walking and talking to you. Yes, we're the bear, we're the lion. You like, look, you in the Chronicles of the Narnia. You know what I'm saying? You got it. You're living the life and everything is going well. Until one day, one of you makes a mistake, is considering some things that they should not be considering. God, who has created this beautiful paradise for you, with the beach and the mountains, the beach home overlooking the cliff, has told you not to do and not to consider. And then the other person, the spouse of the individual that's considering something bad, instead of that spouse saying something and being protective and saying, hey, you don't even need to be listening to or even contemplating doing that, they just let the other spouse just have their play with it for whatever their reason is. I don't know what the reasoning was. I have my speculations, but they allow you to contemplate with this individual, to do some things that you have been forbidden to do. And that one spouse does the forbidden thing. And because the other spouse does not want that person to do it by themselves or whatever their reasoning is, or, I don't know what the reasoning was, they decide to do it with them instead of covering and said, no, you might have done it, but for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. They didn't do that. They got right in there in the mud. They jumped right in the ditch with you. They could have been the ones that pulled you out the ditch. Could have pulled you out the ditch. You was in the ditch. Could have pulled you out the ditch. They jumped right in the ditch with you. They don't want to leave you alone in the ditch. They want to be right next to you. Why they want to be right next to you in the ditch, I don't know, but I have my ideas. But they jump in the ditch with you. And as a result of them jumping in the ditch and disobeying God, who gave you all of this beauty, all of this wonderful settings, the beach house, cliffs, the powder sand beaches, all the beautiful furniture. As a result of both of you jumping in the ditch, you lose everything. You get kicked out off the beach, out of the beach house. All of the furniture is returned. You literally have nothing and are told, because you disobeyed God, You're going to have to start all over, but it's not going to be easy for you. It's going to be extra hard. It's not going to be like before. Before, you could just push a button and the food would cook itself. No, you're going to have to catch the food, and then you're going to have to cook it yourself. And you don't even know how to cook. All your life, the food done been cooked for you and everything. Cooked itself. Not no more. You're going to have to do it all by yourself. You're going to have to work the land, build your own house, cut the trees down. It's only two of y'all. It's over. That life is over. You have been foreclosed on. You have lost your home. You have been put out. All of your possessions have been repossessed. Oh, I forgot to tell you, you also had a car. You had a Rolls Royce. You had a Lamborghini. You had a Bentley. Come on now. You had a Tesla. You had a Tesla truck. You had all these different cars. Y'all just go rolling through the hills because y'all was in the mountains. Y'all had a mountain on the beach. You could go, you had your ATVs. You could go on the beach and, going on the beach. You could do all that. All of it's repossessed. All of it's gone. Y'all have hit rock bottom. Like I said, not only have you hit rock bottom and lost everything, you're told, guess what? It's going to be extremely hard for you to make it. It's going to be like a big burden on your back. So you got to now live with that. A decision that you made, that y'all both made, that your spouse made, is leading to all this. Now, Adam and Eve in the Bible already showed us how they responded. They blamed everybody else except themselves. The woman pointed to the serpent. The man pointed to the woman. Everybody's blaming everybody else excepting themselves. So obviously, there were some arguments after that. After they got kicked out of that garden, you better know there was some arguing and some nagging and all that stuff. Even though both of them were responsible for the situations at hand, they were not taking responsibility for their individual contribution to the problem. And so they lost everything. But guess what? That's not all. They go on to have some children. And because they have opened up Pandora's box and brought in sin and stupid decision-making. See, stupid decision-making as a parent can be transferred on to your kids. Oh, yeah, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Y'all don't believe me? Let me show you. I just want to show you this because y'all need to see this. Hosea 4:6. Hosea 4:6. It says in 4 and 6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Now, you could leave it right there, but you'd be wrong because that's really not what it is. What it is you rejected the knowledge. See, Adam and Eve, they rejected the knowledge. What was the knowledge? Don't mess with stuff that I done told you to keep your hands off of. If y'all would have just kept your hands off of, if you just would have not messed with the fruit, you would still have your beautiful home, your beautiful cars, your residence by the beach and the calming waters and the powdery sand. You still have it, but you decided to reject knowledge. But guess what? That's not your only problem. Not just be destroyed, but I'm also going to reject you from being a priest to me. And since you have forgotten the law of your God, I will also forget your children are going to pay for your unwillingness to receive godly knowledge. Because you rejected knowledge, your children will be forgotten. Folks, that's exactly what happened to Adam and Eve. Their children were affected because they rejected the knowledge. And so not only were they kicked out, not only did they not have the animals for security anymore, they didn't have their security team. Matter of fact, they had to be their own security team against the animals that used to be able to talk to them and communicate and name them. No more. It's over. They now got to scratch and claw for everything they got. But on top of that, they lose their two sons, Cain and Abel. Cain kills Abel, again, because of their sin. Cain is then banished because of his actions. Y'all, that's a lot. You know, there's a lot of marriages that have, and unfortunately, and it's an unfortunate thing, that have the loss of a child. And because of the loss of the child, the two married folks do not continue the marriage. Okay, y'all hear me? I want you to hear me now. There are other marriages and situations where the couple had some cars and some furniture, right? They had cars and furniture, and the cars and the furniture got repossessed, and the marriage did not stay together. They divorced. There's also some marriages where, as a result of something, anything, one or both lost their positions. They had certain positions of high regard. They were high up. They were important. Huh? They were the standard. They had a security team. They had, their own security. They had maids that made their own food and all this stuff like this. But now they are an embarrassment. And as a result of that, they are no longer married. And last but not least, there are people that lost everything when it comes from a material standpoint. Their house, their home, their land, everything. And as a result of it, and children, and they decided that we're going to end our marriage. Well, I've got news for you. The Bible says this about marriage. But before I say this, I feel like many of us have at some point maybe termed Adam and Eve as a bad marriage. They've termed them as a wicked couple. And they probably definitely termed them as a dysfunctional marriage. They've said, oh, that's a dysfunctional marriage. And there's a lot of people today that will tell you and advise you that if your marriage is dysfunctional, that you should end your marriage. If your marriage is causing you pain and hurt and sorrow and not peace, that you should end your marriage. If you've lost your house and your cars and your land, you should end your marriage. If you've lost children because of someone else in, your spouse or whatever the case, you should end your marriage. Maybe because they're not a Christian like you are and stuff like that, and they're just not as holy as you are and don't know God like you do. You should end your marriage. I think this scripture is going to let us know how God feels about dysfunctional marriage. Watch this. Hebrews 13:4 says, marriage is honorable in all. And I'm stop right there because I don't want to go to this part right here because we ain't talking about that right now. Okay? Marriage is honorable in all. I want to focus on this. We can go over here later, but we're going to focus right here. Marriage is honorable in all. What does this mean? First of all, let's look at these words. We already know what marriage is. We already know what no, some people don't. So let's look at it. Some people don't know what a marriage is. So hey, we in a different day and time, bro. We got to know what marriage is. Lord have mercy. Gamos. That's the word. Can't take nothing for granted. This is what I will say. Marriage here is represented the intimate and everlasting union of Christ. If you're representing the union of Christ, that means that the marriage is a festival, a wedding, it's matrimony, it's nuptials, it's an agreement. It is a promise, a vow, and vows that you have made to another individual. And that individual is a man and a woman. It's a man and a woman. It actually says it's not good for a man to be alone. I make him a helper, and the helper he made was a woman. He comes down in Genesis later and says that for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife. So marriage is between a man and a woman. That's what it is. Thought I would go ahead and let you know that so that there's no confusion as to what it is. But we're going to turn now to this word honorable, because we said marriage, this nuptial, this vow between a man and a woman is honorable. What does that mean? We need to see it. We need to see it. We need to see it. Because we're talking about dysfunctional marriages here, and we need to find out about the dysfunction in the marriage of Adam and Eve, because there's a lot of stuff that happened. They lost everything. It just seems like just everywhere that they go is just a mess. Children dying, all just craziness. Okay. Children killing each other. All right, here we go. Watch this. Honorable means as of great price. It is precious. It is to be held in honor. It's esteemed. Okay. It is esteemed. Okay. It's esteemed. It's a great price. It's precious. So marriage between a man and a woman is precious. Now, I didn't hear anything about a good marriage. I just heard marriage. I'm just saying. I'm just reading what it says. It didn't say what type of marriage. It just said a marriage between a man and a woman is of great price. It is precious. It is esteemed, and it is an honor. All right. The last part, because this is should take us home here. Watch this. Marriage is honorable in all. Okay. Individually, each, every, any, all, everyone. Marriage is an honor. It is to be esteemed highly. It is to be reverenced, to be honored in everyone. If a person is deciding to marry, it is honorable. It is to be esteemed regardless of what your opinion is. God has such a high standard of marriage that in the Bible, even when a believer got saved and they happened to be married to an unbeliever, God said, don't leave that marriage. That's how much he honored, respected, esteemed, and held precious the union between a man and a woman. He could have said, man, you need to get out of there. That person's crazy. They not serving me. He didn't say that. He said, even in that situation, hold it together. Hold it together. Okay? Don't leave it. Now, if that unbeliever leaves, if he want to leave now, or if she want to leave, God has not called you into bondage in no situation. He has called you to peace. And you are free in those situations. And then he goes on to say, because how do you know whether or not this person is going to get themselves right? How do you know? You don't know. You don't know. So if they leave, let them leave. You don't know. They might get right. We don't know. They might not get right. We don't know. But if they leave, let them. Because they shouldn't have left. But my point is, God esteems it highly, no matter how dysfunctional, even if it's unequally yoked. Come on. Even if it's unequally yoked, God esteems, holds high, and honors marriage. You know who honored marriage in the most dysfunctional, terrible, catastrophic times, it was Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve. They never parted from one another. They stayed together and had many, 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 many children. They went on and had their life together. They went on and did what they had to do. They could have parted. They could have said, I've had enough of you. You done destroyed my life. You made us lose our house, our cars, our beautiful beach house with the mountains and the sand that was just powdery. I ain't dealing with you. You out of here. You made me lose my standing. My reputation is marred. I can't even talk to God no more. I got to work 1,000 times harder. I'm not dealing with you. We got these folks today. We got these folks today in the chat that wants to say they can't handle a little bit over here, a little bit over there. Oh, you say, oh, I'm better than Eve. Oh, I'm better than Adam. I would have done that. As a matter of fact, you would have done worse. You would have not only would you, I'm just basing it on today's church now, 2025. Not only would you have made the decisions that they did, not only would you have eaten the fruit and jumped in the ditch with your wife or with your spouse, but you also would have divorced and separated. Oh, yeah. If we're talking about today's time, today's Christians, not all, we ain't talking about all, but there's too many people that are wearing tag Christian and believer that are leaving their marriage, and it is nowhere near the pain, suffering, angst, catastrophic ridiculousness that these two incurred. I would have to say, and I can say this with authority and with assuredness, there is no couple, no marriage in the history of human beings that have gone through as much as Adam and Eve did, but they stayed together. And you know what? Because they stayed together and they did it with the intention of doing what is right, the goals, the objectives, and the purpose that God had for the human race was still obtained. Remember what I said earlier. Dominate the earth and all that is within the earth. Be fruitful, multiply, and subdue. Fill and subdue the earth. And your offspring will crush the head of the serpent. All of those things happen. All of those things were achieved because they stayed together. Remember what Jesus said? They said, can you divorce for any and every reason? Because Moses gave us a bill of divorce. And Jesus said, he said from the beginning, it was not so. From the beginning, he talking about back in Genesis and Adam and Eve's time. It was not so. They did not do that. He said he made them male and female. And for this reason, a man should leave his father and his mother and be joined to his wife. But he said, because of the hardness of man's heart, he allowed Moses to do what he did. But that's not the way it's supposed to be. He said, because if you are divorcing for any other reason other than adultery, that's not God's will. That was not the way it was put together. That's not what we were doing here. Are y'all hearing me? And so we got to look at that. We really got to look at that no matter how dysfunctional their marriage was, they stayed together. They did not end their marriage. They did not come up with all this bull crap that we come up with today. Oh, it's bad on the kids. It's hurting the kids that we're staying together because we're so dysfunctional. The kids are being affected. Stop lying to yourself.
Stop!
You think it will be better? Just ask yourself this. So you actually think it will be better for your kids if that was really the issue that you were concerned about? Wink, wink. You really think it'll be better for the kids if y'all were apart, separate, and divorced than if you all stayed together and actually took an active part to work on your marriage and to accomplish, watch this, the purpose that God has for you. See, one thing Adam and Eve did, even after the dysfunction, even after the betrayals, even after all the stuff, the fighting and blaming one another and all the crap, losing everything, losing children, all this kind of stuff, they decided we still going to pursue. We're still going to go after what God has called us to do. We're still going to accomplish this purpose. We're still going to work together. We're still going to work together to be fruitful and multiply, to dominate the earth. And look how we're doing that today. Look at all the advancements that we've made. You can actually look at me on a computer or on a TV. We're dominating the earth. We got all these minerals. We're flying up to the moon. We got flying objects and planes and all types of just dominating the earth. And we're filling the earth. We got people all over the world. Huh? Guess what? Jesus Christ has come and saved us of our sins. He died on the cross. He was raised so that we can have eternal life. Folks, this is all a husband and a wife that was in a so-called dysfunctional, the most dysfunctional marriage ever, decided to work together and stay together and pursue Christ, pursue a good marriage, pursue his purpose for their marriage instead of working apart. Something to think of. You're sitting up there belittling the contributions of Adam and Eve. And hey, I'm with you. I don't appreciate what they did. Absolutely not. But bruh, when you start talking about I would have did better. Would you really? Would you really? Especially in 2025. Would you? I don't know. Would you really? I don't know about that one. Because today, divorce left and right. Separation left and right. Leaving left and right. Stupid. That's what it is. It's stupid. It's stupid. You don't know how God works. He said marriage is honorable and all. Just making excuses. Like I said, it's not good for the kids. It's not good for my mental health and all this kind of. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like I said, Adam and Eve had the worst marriage and results of marriage that could ever be known to man. And you won't come telling me about your stuff. I'm sorry. God ain't going for that stuff, man. He ain't hearing it. You get your house in order. Stop playing around. Stop playing around. Stop making excuses. If you getting divorced for anything outside of what God said that you can get a divorce for, whether that be adultery, and even in the situation of adultery, you can still reconcile. Or the other one that we talked about earlier in 1 Corinthians 7, where the unbeliever leaves, let him leave. In any of those situations, you could redeem it. It's all on you. You could choose to work it out. Now, again, if the unbeliever leaves and they decide they ain't gonna do it, it is what it is. If the person that's cheating decides that they're not gonna change and they just gonna keep on just banging everybody in the neighborhood and over the world, across the world, okay, understand. He's given us a reprieve on that one. But outside of that, no, bro, y'all need to stop tripping. Too many of us Christians are tripping in this area, and we need to stop. Stop. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that to you because it was something I was thinking about, something I saw, and it was just a interesting observation that God showed me. So, are you any better? Are you any better than Adam and Eve? Are you different? Are you more dedicated, more dependable, more whatever than they are? Would you have made better choices? I don't know about that one. Anyway, This is the Real Fight 7, the Real Fight 7 channel. Remember, the real fight is over the quitting, and we will not quit. Love y'all. Good night.